right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Book Brewers October 2025 session. And then today we will be joined by a lot of people. I hope some of them mentioned they're going to join later, such as Fajar, and then I think Mita, and then we have Stephen who will also join. However, since we have four of us here already, we don't want to wait any longer. And then let's just start. Book Brewers is basically a book club that foster long, lifelong learning, right? And then we present to each other the book that we have read that time or in the process of reading that particular month. Then we have several presenters today. Donald with the book uh, Anti-Fragile, and then myself, with Trade and Poverty in Latin America, and then Diaz, Psych 101, and Kamita, her manuscript from her upcoming book. Without further ado, I'm going to copy the questions in the chat box, and I will ask Donald to be the first presenter. Please give me time to copy the question in the chat box. Okay. All right. Please go ahead. Donald, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Dipit. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. So, based on the questions shared in the chat, the title of the book and what it's about. The title of the book that I'm going to share is Anti-Fragile by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. I'm not sure the pronunciation of the name and what it is about. So, in short, it's about risk management because the author is an investment manager, I think. So he deals with financial industry. And this is actually the third book from this author. The first one, the title is Fooled by Randomness, and then the second one is Black Swan, and then this one is Anti-Fragile, and then later on there are more books. Why did you decide to read the book? Because from what I've learned, this book is the most practical. It is the book that gives us the practical solution compared to his previous books. The previous books, Full by Randomness and also Black Swan. Maybe the most famous one is Black Swan by this author. But those books is for the are to give the premise that there are so many events in our lives that are unpredictable, and we cannot predict even with the best methods. And the impact of these events, which are unpredictable, are huge, which is why it is called Black Swan, because it is rare, but the impact is huge. And this book, Anti-Fragile, is about how to handle such an event. So again, it is about risk management. What are your key takeaway from the books? So the author is unconventional, in my opinion, in terms of his ideas. He is against conventional wisdom, we can say. And again, he promotes the idea of black swan. So for example, financial crisis is a black swan. We cannot prepare for it, and it suddenly happens. And the key takeaway from the key takeaways from this book is that you need to make yourself anti-fragile. So there are three possible states. The first one is fragile. The second one is robust. The third one is anti-fragile. Fragile means you get weaker from randomness. So when something bad happens, you get weaker because of it. So when the black swan, something bad, unexpected happens, you get weaker. That is called fragile. Robust is our idea of resilience. It means that something bad happens to you, but you are unaffected. You stay the same as before. So this is a good thing, and it is actually something very common. It is called also resilient or robust. But anti-fragile goes beyond that. Anti-fragile means when something bad happens to you, the black swan happens, you get stronger because of it. So not only unaffected, not only can you stay on your track, but you actually get stronger. So that is the idea of anti-fragile. And the author points out that this is something that actually doesn't have its own word in human language. That's why he has to coin a new term, anti-fragile, because there is no term that captures this idea. You get stronger from the things that is against you. So that is the idea of anti-fragile. And then the book gives the methods or the tips on how to become anti-fragile. First, you need to, first of all, the idea. How is this that you become anti-fragile? You become anti-fragile. Hi, Stephen, welcome. You become anti-fragile when your downside is limited, but your upside is much bigger or even unlimited. So if you have limited downside, but near unlimited upside, or put in simple term, less downside than upside, then you are anti-fragile. But if you have more downside than upside, then you are fragile. So for example, a common thing that happens today is that we borrow money from someone that automatically puts us into the fragile territory because we can lose a lot more. And an example of anti-fragile is that you experiment, you put a small amount into an experiment, so you just lose this amount, but then you can get a lot of upside if the experiment is successful. So that is anti-fragile. The author proposed us to have something called barbell strategy. Barbell is what people lift up in the gym for weightlifting. The barbell has this middle part that is quite thin, and then the end parts are thicker. So that is a barbell. And this is an illustration of the idea is that you need to be conservative in most things, and then you take high risk in a few things. So the conservative part will help you absorb black swan. So something bad that happens, you can absorb it because of the middle part. You are conventional mostly. You do not take risk in these areas, but then in a few areas you take high risk. So if these areas pay off, then you will get a lot, but you are protected against the downside. So that is the idea of barbell strategy, and barbell strategy is the main strategy proposed by the author. And another thing is actually applying this idea to learning, which I find interesting. So learning different topics, actually similar to what we do here in Book Brewers, learning different topics on our own, and we become open to different ideas. Like today, we learn from different books. We are exposed to different ideas. That is actually a form of anti-fragile because we expose our things to many different things. And the upside is high if we get a good idea, and the downside is low. We just spend a small amount of time to taste all these different ideas. So it's a form of anti-fragile that the author himself applies to his own learning process. So those are the key takeaways from the books. Is there a question that you would like to discuss? No? Any question from the audience?
Okay, thank you for the presentation, Donald. I would like to open the floor for questions. If you have questions related to Donald's presentation, please go ahead.
Miss Fifith, I would love to ask to Donald, by the way. So, Donald, I think this one is pretty much very interesting. So, do you mind, do the book offer something like, for example, that whenever people are having a thought like on how actually being vulnerable at the same time, like, for example, there was a question, I really want to be happy, but how am I going to manage this? So, things like that. Do they have these things? Like, I believe that also it is not about uh, the the mindset of somebody. So, do you mind please to share on one particular very specific problem that the book has shared things? Yeah.
As example of anti-fragile, you mean? Yeah, an example is the philosophy of Silicon Valley. In Silicon Valley, you experiment. Actually, the original slogan of Facebook is you move fast and break things. So that is anti-fragile. That means you try a lot of different things and then you put just a small amount of money into this, relatively small, and time. And then you experiment with all these things and some of them become successful. So like Facebook itself, in the beginning, just a website for college students. And then all the features inside of it, they just experiment with this, and the one that take off, they put. So in short, it is experimentation, but its experiment is small. And it is usually done these days by the technology companies. They often do this. Is that your question? Or do I understand?
Thank you, Donald.
Okay. Before I continue asking others, I have also a question for Donald. I think it's interesting to get the suggestion of experimenting, right? Actually, the one mentioned Donald earlier, more like the money invested in the experiment, right? And then to make us stronger and to get us prepared if anything happened. In my point of view, it's the time that is actually quite difficult to also invest to do experiment all of these things. So why is there any situation mentioned in the book about what if we are ourselves struggling already with things that we have to do, like our basic operation is already overwhelming, so that experimenting on other things is the last thing on our mind because of that. Maybe because of we're cash strapped, can be because of money, right? Or can be because of the time poor, right? But we don't have a lot of time and people to actually do this. So, is there any suggestion if we ourselves with the daily operation is already stretched too thin? What should we do to still be able to keep experimenting? Or should it be done only during certain time after we reach a certain level? Or should it be done since the beginning, for example? So anything related to that?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, there is a key term mentioned in the book that I haven't mentioned so far that is related to that question. And the term is optionality. The author says that optionality is anti-fragile, meaning that the path that gives you the most options is the path that is most anti-fragile. The situation that TP described with lack of time, don't have enough resources for experimentation means it is a situation of low optionality in the term of the author. So you need to move to a situation that give you more options. That may mean that you need to sacrifice some things in the present. Actually, in one part of the book, the author says one part of being anti-fragile is someone is able to change careers maybe 6 to 7 times in during their career. So it is the ability to be flexible and move to different ways. It's quite similar to other books that we read like Rains or The World is Flat by Thomas Friedman. They also have these terms. So the ability, and also by Yuval, I don't remember is it Nexus or the book before that. So Yuval also mentioned this. Your flexibility is very important. So the situation that DP described means the optionality is low. The solution is to increase your options. Maybe you need to sacrifice some things in the short term to be able to have more room for experimentation, because that means you put yourself in a situation with more options, and options are anti-fragile. Does it answer the question?
So with all the limited possibilities, choose the one that give you more options. Yeah.
Yes. So
Oh,
maybe this is just my idea, not from the author. Maybe you can apply the Pareto principle. This is my idea, not in the book. The Pareto
the
principle means you
paradox,
no Pareto. So you
Pareto.
80-20. Yeah, 80
Oh,
20.
80-20. Oh, use the you do the 20% productivity to achieve 80% result.
Yes. So let's say your activity, there are 10 activities. You focus
Ah,
on just two that give you 80% of the result.
okay.
Now the 80% is free. You can use it
Yeah.
for experimentation.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to be a greedy person who like to do all 10 of them and choose only two. All right. Thank you. Any other question from the floor? Diaz or Stephen, maybe? No?
I think that Diaz posted something, a question, Miss, in the
In the
group
chat box?
chat.
Okay. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Donald. Is there any theory that was highlighted by the author? Black Swan theory, he really analyzed with lots of examples of events happen in real life.
Yes, yes. Thank you for the question. The main theory maybe is the barbell method. Barbell method means you do things conservatively. You take low risk on most things and just do things with high risk in a few areas. Actually, there is another, maybe we can call it theory or term. The other term is convexity. Again, another term. This person is a Wall Street person. He likes this kind of terms. Convexity means you do things with high upside and low upside. That is the meaning of convex. So you experiment. Let's take an example from history. James Watt experiment with the steam engine, and the experimentation costs some money, but it is limited, so low downside. But when steam engine becomes successful, it has so many applications, so very high upside. It is an example of convexity. So those two things, barbell theory, barbell method, and convexity. Hopefully this answer Dia's question.
Convexity, Diaz. All right.
But
Thank you,
usually,
Don. Yeah.
sorry, many people these days do the opposite. They do things with low upside but very big downside. So for example, is debt,
Yeah.
credits, leverage. You can take leverage in financial investment, margin, all these things actually is the opposite of anti-fragile.
Why do people do that?
Because they want to increase the success in the short term, but they don't foresee the
Long-term
black
gain.
swan. Black swan is rare event. They do not usually use rare event as their way of thinking. They just look at the usual things. But
Mm,
black swan, by definition, is something rare that might happen. And they oversee that because they see all their friends, they become so rich so fast by doing these things.
mm. There's no shortcut, basically. Supposedly, right? There's only short-termism and long-termism. Or is that correct or not?
It's more like blind spot. Well, there
Blind
are so
spot.
many things in the book. We don't have time because we have.
All right.
So there
How
are.
how how thick is the book?
I haven't finished the book actually up till now.
Ah.
The book is quite thick, maybe 700 pages.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Like the biography of Napoleon.
yeah, so blind spot is one other big idea in the book. That's why we need to expose ourselves to randomness because
Mm,
there are so many blind spots and with many examples. I think we don't have time to give example for all the blind spots in history.
yeah. Randomness. Okay. Got it. Thank you so much, Donald, for the presentation. Please give a hand. Okay. Now, let's go to Diaz with her presentation.
Okay. Am I audible, guys?
Audible but not visible.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So the I'm back with the book of Psych 101 because there are over 100 theories over here, but and I'll discuss one of it, which is dreams. I forgot, but as far as I know, I haven't really discussed about this chapter. It's about dreams. So, do you guys remember the book that we read about sleeping? It was few years back. The science of sleeping, or how do we sleep, something like that. So, this book is actually a bit discussing about that part as well, but the one that really hooked me up is because the science of sleep, and then it says that, believe it or not, scientists still don't know the reason or purpose for sleeping in the first case. So it's a bit contradictory with what we read in the book club about sleeping, because sleeping is actually on that book it says that sleeping is our superpower, but here it was mentioned that even the scientists really don't know the purpose of sleeping in the first case. But however, there is a theory from Sigmund Freud. I don't know if I pronounce it correct or not, but he said that there's a theory of dreams. So basically, there are two content: the manifest and the latent. So manifest is the our actual thoughts, our actual image or memory about what happened in the past, or what happened in the present life. And about latent is this, it's a dream with certain meaning. So if you and it kind of got me thinking about I don't know if you guys grow up with this kind of story of when we dream about our tooth, we miss our tooth, then someone from our relatives or someone from our families might get sick or something like that. And then if we are dreaming, if we have a dream of swimming in the ocean, or um traveling far far away, meaning that you're going to you're going to travel, or you're going to have a journey really really soon, something like that. It's also mentioned here that actually it's not just a myth, but it's a collection of stories that's been gathered for centuries. So I'll check the chat. Yeah, correct, why we sleep. I decided to read the book because I'm continuing of what's inside this Psych 101. And the key takeaway from this particular chapter is actually the from my personal key takeaways is dream is not just a dream. Actually, it can I mean, from this chapter I do know that why I mean, why there's a saying that you have to keep on chasing your dream, something like that. If it's interpret positively, like you have a dream of becoming something, then you go for it. But nowadays it turns into meme where where people said that if you have a dream, go chase it, and then there's a picture of one person sleeping, so I'll go chase the dream by sleeping. And then the question that I'd like to discuss is that do you really believe, or maybe encounter in one of your personal experiences about dream, and do you like it, or do you cherish it, or do you dislike it? So that will be my question to you guys. But um the there's a this chapter particularly is very interesting, because it's also mentioned that certain examples of this Sigmund Freud's theory. So I think for most of us, example is when we're about to have our exam in school. Sometimes you're dreaming about taking the test even before the actual test. So for example, you're going to have a test on Monday, but then in the Saturday or Sunday when you sleep, then you feel in your dream that you're doing that test. It's also mentioned here that it's part of it's the first common themes found in dreams. So it's it's very common, and I think it's almost everyone get this dream because they're having their school, and then they have this kind of dream whenever they are about to take their exam. And then the second common theme for dreams is being chased or attacked. So be careful if you just watch horror movies or thriller movies. You might get this dream later on when you're sleeping. So I think that's very interesting because from this day to day activity, and what we've been doing what we've been doing every day, which is sleeping, there's a theory for it. There's a theory for it. There's a study for it, and it's just for me it's um an open it's like open my mind into, okay, there's a lot of things I still don't know about dreams, which is I almost dream every night. But then there's also lots of studies for on dreaming. So it's very interesting for me personally. I think that's it. Thank you. If you'd like to discuss, or if you have any questions, please do let me know. Thank you.
All right. Just like what Diaz just said, is there any question from the floor? Okay, I would like to start. Diaz, is there
Sure.
any explanation about people who do not dream or very rarely dream? I one of
Mm,
them. I maybe dream twice a year. Very rare.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So is there anything related to that?
Mm. With in this particular chapter, no, because it's a dive deep into what dreams is about. So it doesn't really discuss about people who don't dream. But what I do know is people who don't dream is I don't know. My mom always said that, oh, you're too tired, that's why you don't dream. You just sleep, something like that. So maybe you've been really tired or exhausted, but but then maybe the dream interpret into something else. Or maybe if you take a nap, do you take a nap?
I can
Rarely.
only dream about taking a nap.
Oh no.
But then
That's
I
why
think
I
probably yes. Like uh the brain kind of tell we don't have time for dreams. Let's just skip it. Skip that part and go to sleep. But I is it gonna have emotional baggage? That's because I myself wonder. I use ChatGPT to answer my questions, right?
really.
And
Oh
yeah,
no. And
because they
what
said
does
like
it say?
a lot of people, a lot of psychology, even Sigmund Freud, by the way, right? The way we saw it,
Mm-hmm.
we
Mm-hmm.
mentioned his, pronounced his name, Freud, said
Mm-hmm.
that
Okay.
dreams
Mm-hmm.
is part of the strategies to process our emotion that
Mm-hmm.
is not finished, processed in our awake time, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we dream about our ex boyfriend or girlfriend, it doesn't mean that we miss them or something like that. But sometimes we just,
Mm-hmm.
this is the way for our emotion to process us to move on or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
any unprocessed emotion during awake time will be solved during dreaming time.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me wonder, if you do not dream, when do we get the time to process all of this emotion? So I was a bit worried myself. Worried there's if there
Mm-hmm.
is side effects that I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
But I think it would be I think the discussion of why we don't dream, maybe it's related to, when where I forgot where I read this, but there's a certain stages. I think in why we sleep though, there are certain stages like when I have this particular word, but I don't know if it's bahasa Indonesia
Indo,
or bahasa Sunda. It says erup erup. So it's
erup,
like
erup.
erup is when you feel like your energy is about to it's about to finish on that day. So it's the transition between very fully awake into you're very very sleepy. So I don't know if it says that people who drink alcohol, they tend to feel this way because it's this it's a very particular phase when you're about to feel very high, but then you're about to lose your mind as well. So anyway, this erup is you're most likely to shut down your eyes to sleep, but then from that phase, there's a very long way into dreaming. So um that's why there is a deep sleep, there is a light sleep, and and then there's a phase where if you're awake during that light sleep, you will feel very dizzy, you will feel very and it will affect your emotion because you're not really you weren't really having that rest yet.
Mm-mm.
So I think I have to read that Why We Sleep again because it really rings a bell with what I read few years back. So it's for me it's a very interesting part. But regarding your sleep, I think it would be best if you either reread the Why We Sleep or I don't know, maybe journaling will help, no? Because
Mm.
I do know that it's part of processing emotion, and it's also mentioned here in the theory on dreams. The content of dreams is first manifest your actual thoughts and emotions and content and images, and the latent, which means which has that hidden meaning.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually
Mm-hmm.
still remember some of the key points in Why We
Mm-hmm.
Sleep. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the one that is most important about the function of sleeping is we will clear our cage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that?
Correct.
When we have temporary memory in we store it in our brain, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like we clear that part of the brain,
Mm-hmm.
sweep
Like a
it
response.
clean. So our brain somehow sort out which one will be stored to the permanent memory, which one
Mm-hmm.
will be discarded. So
Mm-hmm.
our brain will not be overwhelmed the next day. So in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, because that happens during sleep, which is called sleep
Mm-hmm.
spindle, right? The RPM,
Mm-hmm.
rapid eye movement.
Yeah, yeah, right. I'm of
So maybe our dreams somehow come out from that processing of our brain processing, which one
Mm-hmm.
deciding which one to discard or throw away, which one to be stored in the permanent memory. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe this is my prediction. However, Stephen here has a question.
Okay.
I'm the type of person who dreams almost every night, and they are weird dreams. Any
Oh,
explanation for that? By the way, there are no normal dreams, so all dreams are weird. But yes,
oh,
any
yeah, that's right.
explanation for that?
Mm-hmm. For this, I think for this kind of weird dreams, because based on Sigmund Freud, is that correct? Sigmund Freud, the interpretation of dreams. So they are actually divided into two parts: the manifest and the latent. So, and because it's weird, it's maybe most probably it's because between that manifest and that latent content, it got mixed up. So that's why it's very weird somehow. Or but it's also will be very interesting if you can, like write it down, or not to think it over or and get that overthinking, but at least you do know why you have that kind of dream. So it's actually, and it's most probably because it's a mix up between what happened and what was your emotion when you're processing it, and the other part is where there is a hidden meaning, and that hidden meaning is keep on hiding until I don't know when. because it says that it's hidden meaning. The hidden meaning part is uh the hidden meaning parts basically it's divided into the book says there are 10 common themes, and the first one is that taking the test before academic exam, and then the others is like falling, losing a tooth, and then lost in transit. So if if you're traveling, someone who travels a lot, you might get this dream somehow. And then flying, and also dying, and also driving. It's most common the most common dreams, the most common themes in dreams, though. That's what the book said.
I actually have read interpretation of dreams when in university, and
Mm-hmm.
I still remember my reaction that time at the end of the book. Uh, why do we even interpret dreams?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because it's like there's no way to find out whether that's true or not. It's like for me, it's like a waste of energy and effort because when we interpret dreams, there's no way for us to find out whether the interpretation is going to be true or not. What we need to do is just live our lives and wait and see, right? So basically,
Mm-hmm.
what taxing effort try to interpret dreams in the end is not always come true or it's not always correct,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then it's almost like 50-50, something like that. So yeah, that's I think my reaction that time. We have one more question
Mm-hmm.
from Stephen. Could journaling helps me recognize my condition? For example, my
Mm-hmm.
emotional state, my health, my behavior, etc. Dream journaling, I meant.
Mm. The this particular chapter didn't mention any how to recognize or how to identify, but I do think that journaling in general will really help. uh, it could be dream journaling. I have my own wheel of emotion journaling in my personal experience. And then there are lots of journaling, like I don't know, nowadays I saw my nieces, they have their dream journaling. They want to be, they want to be a they want to have financial freedom by this age, something like that. So I think in general it could really help, though.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Any other question?
I just want to give a comment. I
Sure.
think, yeah, actually, comment to Pipit. Pipit says very rarely dream. Maybe that's not you do not dream, but just you cannot remember that you dream. So that's different thing.
Oh.
You actually
Mhm.
dream, but you are not aware of it. So the dream is in the subconscious, but it doesn't spill over to the conscious except once or twice a
Oh,
year.
wait. If it happened and I wasn't aware of it, how do I know that it actually happened then?
Well, in my case, sometimes, rarely, but sometimes I find a situation in a day and I try to remember where did I find this, and I just
Oh,
remember
deja
this
vu?
is in my dream last
Mhm.
night.
Oh, like a deja
Un-
vu, yeah.
Mhm.
Until at that time, I don't remember at all that I have a dream.
Ah.
Mhm.
So
So
you need a
only
trigger to make you remember.
no,
Yeah.
just I think in most cases people actually dream best, but it is a matter of whether they realize it or not.
Ah, okay. Well, in my case, I don't realize it. But I'm pretty sure it did not happen because literally there's no trace of what happened. I just close my eyes and suddenly it's already morning. Like in a flash, literally.
So
Anyway,
it's Monday
okay.
suddenly Tuesday suddenly Wednesday.
It just close my eyes 7 seconds and then woke up. Feels nice.
Oh. Mhm.
All right. Thank you. Any other question before we move on? 3, 2, 1. Okay. Now it's my
Thank
turn.
you.
Thank you, dears. You guys. Okay. Now, my turn. I'm going to talk about this book called Poverty in Latin America. And then I have mentioned earlier in the beginning, I think the only Donald was here that time. So, uh, Poverty in Latin America, the title of the book, and why, what it is about. Basically, even though the topic is poverty in Latin America, but after you read about the books, actually the debate between capitalism and socialism. So the title itself is somehow misleading. So maybe to attract people to read it, if they want to understand why most of countries in Latin America are poor, right? But then after you read the book, somehow there's a subtext that was going on. It's basically whether the reason of they are poor is because of their own fault or because of the intervention from other countries, basically. And then this, the understanding of why they are poor somehow lead to what type of solutions that are needed by them. So if it's because of the international intervention or something like that, the solution is supposed to be then you have to focus on Latin America themselves. So they somehow want to focus on trading between regional trade, basically. But if they believe that the reason why they're poor is because of their own problem, such as I put it in the list here, such as in weak governance, inequality, informality, insecurity, poor infrastructure, poor transportation, poor logistic, rigid labor markets, corruption, complex and non-transparent legal and regulatory frameworks, and insufficient protections of proprietary rights. There are so many problems. It's in the description. Uh, if they believe that this is the reason, then what they need to do is they need to trade, focusing trading with international rather than within themselves, because somehow they see themselves as they cannot help each other, basically only the outside intervention can help them. So this is briefly about the content of the book. However, I'm still far away to go. I have read until 120 page 120 as of now. So that is the book and what the book is about, the title and what the book is about. Why did you decide to read the book? This is the Poverty in Latin America is the prescribed reading list on the upcoming debate tournament next month. And so this is the first on the first on the list of the prescribed reading for this debate tournament. So I that's why I read this. And what are your key takeaway from the books? I have mentioned this to Donald earlier that actually when reading until 120 pages so far, I haven't found anything that I have not heard before. So a lot of the information, a lot of the ideas written in the first 120 pages is somehow very instinctual. Like I mentioned before about the book try to identify what is wrong with Latin America that make them somehow unable to develop as at least as much as they would like, right? So weak governance because of the corruption, right? And that's actually happened to be the same with Indonesia. Inequality. So even within the society of the Latin America, they have inequality. And then this is also interesting because racism is part of the inequality here in Latin America. So in Latin America, they have people who are darker and people who are have lighter skin, even though they are Latin. Uh, not Spanish, yeah, Latin people with their indigenous blood and things like that. But they have people who also are blonde. So maybe if you know, such as Shakira and then Sofia Vergara, right, the famous celebrities from Latin America, right, from Colombia, things like that. But they have blonde hair, for example. They have light skin, but they're still part of Latin American people. And there is inequality even among themselves. So they need to sort out this problem according to this book. And then they have informality. Informality here, people do not take formal stuff seriously. Formal stuff in this case can be education, can also be government structure, something like that. Yeah, so they have very little faith in education, and that's why they do not. A lot of them choose to join the gangs to survive, or do odd jobs to survive rather than stay in school, for example. A lot of the young generation do that. Insecurity, of course, with the gang violence and all of the uh, contraband, even the movement trying to separate, try to attack the government, something like that. That's insecurity. Actually, a big problem. Infrastructure financing. This is related to weak governments. Poor transportation. This is also related to poor government or weak government. Poor logistics, also related to weak governments. Rigid labor market. Now, this is the one that is I said earlier about. There's a hidden subtext here about criticizing socialism in Latin America. So Latin America is not fully 100% capitalist, right? They're somehow 50-50. One foot on sea, one foot on shore situation. So because of this situation, they have very rigid labor markets. Um, the labor has very strong power uh, in the country. That's why a lot of people are reluctant to start businesses like that employ a lot of people. Maybe like building factories, something like that. They are very reluctant to do so because of very rigid labor markets, and that somehow lead to high uh, high number of or high level of unemployment. And then complex and non-transparent legal frameworks is just like Indonesia. This is basically justice system that is not reliable, and the regulations also not reliable. A lot of policies actually made overnight and very reactionary rather than think things through. So whenever there's something happen, they come up with reactionary regulations about it instead of studying what the problem is actually about and what is the proper regulations that can answer to that problem. And the last one is insufficient protection of property rights. Again, this is attacking socialism. There is actually still strong in Latin America because property rights here is very capitalistic idea. Okay, and then what else? Yeah. Oh, they talk a lot about how uh, oh, they use Mexico as the example of the success story. So I don't know why Brazil here is not mentioned that much in the book as the examples of the one of the example of the success story. Maybe at the later chapter, I don't know. But until page 120, they only mention how Mexico has listed itself to be middle income countries, not low income countries, because of NAFTA, basically, North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement between Canada, the US, and Mexico. So, thanks to NAFTA, according to the book, that a lot of factories moved from the US to Mexico, basically. And the free flow of goods and services somehow makes Mexico become middle income countries. So that's one of the key examples. Um, and for those uh, that do not want to rely on international trade, they usually concern of two things. Number one is because of the environment issue, right? They don't like the carbon footprint that is resulted from international trade. And they also talk about how it's always imbalance of power. So a lot of Latin American countries do not have enough resources to pursue dispute settlement in the international arbitrary court, basically. So when they trade with rich countries, they sometimes they have dispute between companies, between governments, something like that, and they do not even have the resources to sue the companies from rich countries or the government from rich countries. So what's the point of doing trade with them, basically? So and again, coming out of the imbalanced power, they said this create a not interdependent economic situation, but it's more like the more dependent countries versus independent countries. So Latin America countries find themselves more to the dependent side rather than the independent side. And during the cases of wars and conflicts, something like that, usually they're the one who shoulder the most burden. And the last but not least is about how the pattern of the trade is usually predatory because just like in Indonesia, Latin American countries usually export raw materials to rich countries at cheap price and then import those materials back into their countries in the form of finished products at a more expensive price, even a much more expensive price. And this is actually, they said, this is the reason why they stay poor because they can only export raw materials and then purchasing back that materials in the form of finished products at much higher price. And actually, I see that happen in Indonesia as well. So that's what I got so far from my reading. Try to identify why these countries stay poor, and I see a lot of similarities with Indonesia in that sense. And the understanding of why the countries are still poor will somehow lead us to the different solutions. So the different solutions that we propose depend on our understanding of why the countries stay poor. Okay, so that's what I got so far. Any questions from the floor? Dia said, "Oh my God, Agas Gumran, this is Indonesia in Latin version." Yes, very similar.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Donald.
I think one politician in Mexico says that 70% of Mexico is controlled by drug cartels.
Yes.
Can you explain why based on the understanding from the book?
The actually drugs is not the wait, let me check from nine. Okay, so basically, this book, in my opinion, this is just my sense from overall reading it. They try to pin the blame on other countries for whatever's wrong in Latin America. I get the strong sense of that. Because they try to focus on this is the fault of other countries, right? Somehow they avoid their own problem, basically. So we know the drug situation in Mexico is not only exclusive to Mexico. Almost all countries in the Latin America have problem with gang violence because of drug situation, right? If they're not the producers of this, uh, what is it? Is it marijuana? What is the name? The one, the famous drugs. They call it differently
Cocaine,
there.
I think cocaine.
Cocaine, yes, cocaine, yeah. Cocaine trade, right? They somehow still blame that on the rich countries. So there's even a famous saying about like kasihan Mexico. It's like so close to America, so far away from God, they said. Because the cocaine trade, all of these drug cartels, things like that, is because of the demand from the United States, from not just the United States, but all these countries, demand for cocaine is so big. That's why the economy of this, uh, the surrounding, the periphery areas is somehow ruled by drugs as well. So unfortunately, the book did not, or have not, at least up to the point I have read, have not talked about drugs issue a lot. Not even mention it even one sentence just yet. I have mentioned the list of problems that the Latin America countries have, and not one of them mentioning about drugs. They said about complex and non-transparent legal framework, which is the justice system, but that's not directly related to drugs. It's about immunity, how these cartels somehow are stronger than the police, for example, right? So they have stronger power compared to the justice system, something like that. So it's only indirectly related. So yes, from my conclusion so far is either the book avoid that topic or they have not reached that topic yet from up to the point I read. So yeah, that's what I can share. Any other question from the floor? No. Okay. So that is it. My presentation. We happen to finish at 12:30. So I would like to continue with the next presenter. But before I ask Kak Mita, I want to make sure, Stephen, do you have any book you want to share today? Stephen, 3, 2. Yeah, you were about to say something. No? Yes? Okay. Maybe he's mobile. Yeah.
And Suryani can share about the sunset also.
Oh yeah. Suryani, the one that the art of war.
So Miss, basically it's well uh
Have you started?
yeah,
Okay
but
then.
yeah.
Whatever it is now. See,
Yeah.
I only read 120 from my side. Donna also
Um
hasn't finished this. Yeah. Okay, 5 more minutes, Stephen. Go ahead, Suryan.
so I don't know if I pronounce this one correctly, my friends. So the art of war visualize. Sunche. Okay, if you guys got like better pronunciation, please do let me know. I think that the part that I read this one, it's how good work gets done. This is the Venn diagram, if you guys notice this one. And inside of it, we have like some like we have it like a tree diagram like this, and one of it is like bosses who get out of the way, guides to follow, and people to lead. So the very important part of it is that they said thus we may know that there are five essential of for victory. So I happened to read this book was because I was a bit overwhelmed at work, and I kind of like didn't know what to do. So because I have like I don't know like a lot to face. So it happened in my mind I really need to have a better strategy at work by reading this book. And first thing first that I like a lot is that he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. So I believe that at work there are also not at work, also in our real life. I sometimes that we know how to place this as well. And number two is that he will win who knows how to handle superior and also inferior forces. Superior and also the inferior, I think that it is like common happen at work as well as in our daily life too. And the third is that he may win whose army is animated by the same spirit throughout all it ranks. This one it's about the commitment that we are going through. And the fourth is that he will win who prepared himself, waits to take the enemy unprepared. This is about the strategy, I believe. And the last one is that he will win who has military capacity and it is not interfere with the same foreign. So I kind of like understand the takeaway from me about this chapter is that um, sometimes in a daily work, right? Especially whenever we are facing the force from let's just say that we are having like the top and also as our subordinate, so there are a lot of forces coming, then some strategies indeed needed in order for us to be able still to sail the boat together. understanding that we still have the vision that we are going to go through, and the mission that we need to go through the jungle, and the journey as well. So all in all, I think that I started to understand on how to act, or how to behave as well, and how to delegate some jobs to the coworkers that I have in my office. That's it, my friend. Thank you.
Okay, it's such a pretty good insight, even though still in the beginning part, right? All right.
Yes.
So any question from the floor?
Yeah, I have a question. Of
Go
the
ahead.
several rules or principles that you have learned so far, which one you have found most useful?
Thank you, Donald, for the question. I think that the first one, he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. So sometimes that at work or in a real life, we fall into argument with somebody. I believe that not every words that we need to comes with the reaction. I believe as well. So it better for us just to listen and also to understand the point, instead of like being very reacted, like something like happen at work, then people are going to just spill everything, and then we get mad over things. If we pinpoint the problem in a better way, I think that we can just avoid these things. And also the thing number two is that I really like the most is that he will win who know how to handle the superior and also the inferior. So the bosses and also the subordinate that we have at work. Pretty much like that. How to treat people, I believe. Yeah. Thank
Okay,
you,
thank you.
Donald.
Thank you. Fight or flight situation, right? Which one is worth
Yes.
our time or not? Is that Facebook debate or not? Okay. Steven, are you ready? Or any other question from you, Riani? For Sunayani? No, okay. Steven, you ready? Not yet. Just got home. Do you have a book to
Damita,
present?
just open mic, Kiki. Maybe you want to ask something.
Oh,
Hi,
go
I
ahead, Kamita.
ask a question.
Yes, go ahead, Kamita.
Okay, I'm sorry, my camera seems not working today, so because I'm using my cell phone. For Suryani, what kind of job do you do?
Thank you very much. I'm a principal at school.
Oh, you're a
Uh,
principal at school. Which level of school?
it's a kindergarten. Then I have around 42 teachers to handle.
All right. And
Yeah.
these teachers, are they the same age or generations as you are, or they're older, or they're even younger?
They're older than me. I think that you see the picture so clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that I get it right. You're from generation, I think looking at your face, Z or millennial is the oldest. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes. The
Which one?
millennial
Millennial or
by
Z?
millennials.
Okay.
Okay.
Millennials are the best at the workplace at the moment based on my personal experience. You're the change makers. You work so fast and you're so smart. And when you deal with somebody or some people who are older than you, for me, for example, I'm from Generation X. So we tend to work more independently. We like independence. We're the sandwich generation that bridges the baby boomers and your generation. So sometimes our steps are slower because we need to consider the parents of the children who are probably older, or we need to consider the your generation and even the children's too. Yeah. So when we make a decision, when we take actions, we consider a lot of angles. But your generation is so fast, yeah, and you tend to work more collaboratively, or you emphasize more on teamwork. So having done this, I think the conflicts that arise at the workplace coming from how you handle daily problems, and also how fast you're taking actions, and how independent and how group thinking that you're considering in making decisions. So I think you probably think about people more of your age more rather than people from the older generations, the children's perspectives, etc. So I think what I'm suggesting is that take more time, be more patient with the older generations, because we are slower than you. And also, I think at the end, it is the children's interest that is the most important. Yeah, when you have to make a decision, it's not about the parents only, it's not about the teachers, but what's the impact on the children's? Is it good for their characters? Is it gonna make them good people or not? Something like that. I think that's my suggestion. So yeah, back to you, Suryani.
Thank you so much. It means a lot. Oh my god, it just made my day. Like literally, Miss Mita. How am I going to call you Miss Mita then? Better way. Thank
Kak
you.
Mita.
Kak Mita. Thank you, Kak Mita.
Okay, so we only have 10 minutes left. So I would like to ask Steven if he is ready.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello guys. uh,
Yes, we are here.
okay. Uh, do I need to present the book? I noticed that there's one person that already already says in the WhatsApp group that she's going to present a book, not me.
Oh, but do you have a book or not?
Well, I have several,
No,
but
to present, you can choose one. Kak Mita can also present next time. It's also okay because you came first earlier. But up to
oh,
you
okay.
because you only have like 10 minutes left.
Well, if I have to present a book, I would say I read this book like 2 months ago, Philosophy 101.
Mhm.
I'll share. I'm sitting down now. So this is the book. I think the same with the series 101, Psych 101, Economics 101, and so on. Why I got this book is because lately I've been in I'm interested about the thoughts, the philosophy. What is existentialism, what is hedonism, what is communism. So I got myself just a starter basically, to philosophies, what are the thoughts, what are the ideas out there. So um for me, according to this book, what is philosophy? Philosophy means love of wisdom. So it is the love of wisdom that guides philosophers to explore the fundamental questions about who we are and why we're here. And I think that theme, a lot of people, I mean, even ourselves, we ask sometimes that questions, right? We ask why we're here, why were we born, uh, why are we Indonesians? Maybe why am I created as a man or woman? So that's why I got this book actually. Um, there's a lot of theories out here. Just a starter. I mean, it it tells you about Francis Bacon, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, what are their ideas, and so on. But it's just 10 minutes because it's just 10 minutes. I'm just gonna share to you guys one of the thought experiment from, who was it? Plato. So in Plato's thought experiment, you guys can Google it. There's this, if you guys can see it.
Yeah, the horse, right?
Yeah, it's Plato's cave, in which in this experiment there are prisoners. It's better if I just put it down there. So there are prisoners right here. Yeah, they're looking at the wall, this wall. These prisoners, they've been prisoners and before in they've been since they were born. So they are prisoners. They've never go outside the cave. In this cave, in this kind of like a brick wall, there's a fire in there, right? So everything that happens here, let's say there's someone walking here, walking in this kind of bridge, everything will be reflected in this wall. So if there's a dog coming here, there will be dog shadow, there's dog reflection in this uh, wall. So what it means is just it's like these prisoners, they see in their daily life, they see shadows. They don't see the real thing. They don't see people. They don't see dogs. They don't see cars and everything. They just see the shadows of the people, of the dogs. They may even see the wrong thing because a person comes in with a robe may not look like a person, right? So this in this thought experiment, Plato says that it's an illusion basically. So basically, all of this that the prisoners see here is just an illusion. It's perceived as a reality, but it's not because you don't see human. You just see the shadows of the human. So that is, it's this thought experiment is what got me thinking that uh, you know whatever we see in our daily life, whatever we have right now, whatever we feel as reality, uh, what is behind that? I mean, if you want to connect it to something, let's say you want to connect it to God, uh, when you're when you're let's say drinking drink a water, is that really a water? Is it is it reality? I don't know what can I say about this. I mean, there is a question actually though. So we are the prisoners. We are the prisoners, and whatever we see, whatever we feel, whatever we experience, it uh, according to this experiment, it may not be as real. And because Einstein himself also says that what did he say? Time is just an illusion, but it's I forgot about that. Yeah, so basically for me, uh, this is a question about the world that we live in. Basically, then my main point is that uh, there's a lot of question, and we are the prisoners because we don't really see what is happening, uh, what is happening in the reality. And it could also be you know whatever we see in our daily life. Let's say when we see about politics, I see people already always talking about politics and history. Could it be a shadow, just a shadow? Something's going on behind that shadow. So that's from me. I know it. I haven't prepared anything, so forgive me if I'm mumbling and gibberish.
It wasn't mumbling and gibberish. Okay, so actually we only have 2 minutes before my student comes. Can we please take photo first? Okay, everyone. Kak Mita, please then next meeting ya. Because we only have 90 minutes meeting today.
It's okay. I fell asleep.
You fell
I cannot
asleep.
turn on my camera. So sorry.
All right, no worries. I will, if you have a picture with yourself with the book, I will edit you in because I myself also do not have camera ready right now. Everyone, please show your book. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey, wait, what? 3, 2, 1. Wait, what? I cannot. Donald, I'm in trouble. I cannot, suddenly cannot screen share, screenshot. Anyone can help?
Sorry, I'm using my phone as well.
My keyboard doesn't work. Oh, wait, my goodness.
Yeah, I
I
can
think
do
I
it, but I
okay.
need both hands so I cannot show my book.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened to my keyboard.